He wore the badge to serve and protect, not to stay silent. When Officer Mark Daniels witnessed a fellow cop abuse an innocent man, he faced an impossible choice: stay loyal to his brothers in blue, or speak the truth and lose everything. What he did next would shatter his career, test his courage, and change how an entire town saw justice forever. In this story, we take you deep inside the world of one man's impossible choice, a police officer torn between loyalty and conscience. You'll witness the silence that protects corruption, the courage it takes to break it, and the price one man pays when he dares to speak the truth. This isn't just a story about law enforcement. It's about integrity, morality, and the heavy cost of doing what's right when the world tells you to look away. Get ready to explore the line between justice and betrayal, and what it truly means to stand alone for the truth. When Officer Mark Daniels first put on his uniform, he believed he was joining a family, a brotherhood sworn to protect and serve. But years later, standing on a cold courtroom floor with trembling hands, he realized that same family had turned its back on him because he dared to tell the truth. Mark wasn't the kind of cop who sought attention. He was quiet, dedicated, the kind of man who wrote reports carefully and treated everyone, no matter their skin color or background, with dignity. In his small-town precinct, he was respected by the community but quietly mocked by a few of his colleagues. They called him Boy Scout behind his back. It started one rainy night. Mark and his partner, Officer Briggs, were responding to a call about a suspicious vehicle. They found a young black man named Jamal sitting in his car, scrolling on his phone, waiting for his girlfriend. There was nothing suspicious, no drugs, no weapons, no threat. But Briggs didn't care. "Get out of the car," Briggs ordered, hand already resting on his holster. Jamal looked confused but complied. "Officer, I didn't do anything." "Shut it," Briggs snapped, slamming him against the hood. Mark froze for a moment, rain pouring down his face. Something inside him twisted. He knew it was wrong. Every instinct told him to step in, and he did. "Briggs, that's enough," Mark yelled. "He's not resisting." Briggs turned to him, eyes cold. "You take his side now." Mark hesitated. "I take the side of the law." That night changed everything. Jamal was released without charges, but the story didn't end there. Someone recorded the incident. The video spread, a white cop abusing power, a young man humiliated. The department tried to bury it, but when reporters started asking questions, they blamed Jamal, then blamed faulty procedure, then quietly suspended him. Mark knew the truth. And when Jamal's lawyer reached out asking for testimony, Mark made a choice that would define his life. He agreed to speak. The moment he said yes, his brothers in blue became strangers. The whispers started first. Coffee cups left unwashed when he entered the break room. Backup arriving late on calls. His patrol car vandalized, rat carved into the paint. His wife, Karen, noticed the change in him. "Mark, you barely sleep. You're always looking over your shoulder." He sighed, rubbing his face. "They're making it impossible for me to do my job. But I can't stay silent, Karen. That boy didn't deserve what happened." She reached for his hand. "You always said integrity matters more than popularity. Maybe this is your moment to prove it." Her words gave him strength, but the cost was heavy. When the trial began, the courtroom was silent. Briggs sat at the defense table, smirking, surrounded by officers. Mark sat opposite, the only one from the department willing to testify against him. The prosecutor asked, "Officer Daniels, did you witness excessive force use that night?" Mark's heart pounded. "Yes, I did." "And who used it?" He looked across the room. "Officer Briggs." Gasps rippled through the audience. Briggs clenched his jaw, eyes burning into him. Mark felt his hands shaking, but he didn't back down. The cross-examination was brutal. The defense tried to paint him as disloyal, unstable, even resentful. "Isn't it true," the lawyer sneered, "that you were jealous of Officer Briggs' success?" Mark met his gaze. "No, I was disgusted by his abuse of power." When the verdict came in, guilty of misconduct and assault under color of authority, the courtroom was split. Some applauded. Others sat stone-faced. Mark didn't smile. He just exhaled. For once, truth had prevailed. But victory came with isolation. He was reassigned to desk duty, then quietly pushed to resign. His so-called brothers never forgave him. Some even threatened him anonymously online. One evening, months later, Mark visited Jamal. The young man opened the door, surprised. "Officer Daniels?" Just Mark now, he said with a faint smile. Jamal hesitated, then stepped aside. Come in. My mom's been wanting to meet you. Inside the small apartment, Jamal's mother hugged him tightly. You stood up when no one else would. You gave us our dignity back. Mark's eyes watered. Ma'am, I just told the truth. She shook her head. Truth takes courage. And courage takes sacrifice. Years later, Mark became a community advocate, teaching young officers about integrity and accountability. He was no longer part of the department, but he had become something greater, a symbol of what law enforcement should be. In interviews, when asked if he regretted testifying, he always said the same thing. I lost friends, a career, and my peace of mind. But I gained something you can't buy, self-respect. Moral of the story. Doing the right thing often means standing alone. But truth, no matter how costly, will always outlive the silence of fear. If this story moved you, take a moment to share it, because the world needs more people who choose truth over silence. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. What would you have done if you were in Officer Daniel's shoes? And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more powerful, moral-based stories that make you think, feel, and reflect. Your support helps us keep telling the stories that matter.